5-1, baby. 1 in 5. No one here gets out alive now.
All right, welcome back to my podcast, 5-1. I am your host, Audie. Today's episode, we have a very special guest. He is a film editor, a director, a writer, and a producer. He's did some work in my new favorite horror anthology film, Skeletons in the Closet, and he also did some work on my new favorite grindhouse indie film starring Sid Haig, High on the Hog. He did a lot of work in those two movies, and he's done other movies as well. But let's give a warm welcome to Bernard Anthony Lewandowski.
So am I your first? Am I going to be your first official interview on your new podcast?
Yes, you are the first.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
I'm honored.
right. I'm honored to have you. I tuned in to High on the Hog, and I fell in love with that movie. And Kevin, he took really good care of me. Reached out and he was like, "Hey, we developed a relationship." And he's like, "Hey," he's like, "I like what you're all about." And I was like, what do you mean you like what I'm all about? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just some guy that's, a social media influencer. I when I recognize good work, I want other people to see it too. You know what I mean?
How'd you come across the movie, Audie?
So, which one? Your skeleton?
Hog.
Oh, Hog.
No, Hog.
So what happened was I was at a con. It was Kansas City.
Oh yeah, we were there.
Yeah, I know. I saw a lot of y'all, and I just blew by y'all and said, "Fuck these guys." Not really. I didn't really have that mindset. I was there and I saw the booth and I was like, man, and I just kind of like, it was just one of the things. It's like, that's very intriguing. It's Sid Haig, obviously. His face was, all over it with the marijuana leaf or whatever. And I regretted it ever since. I was like, man, I should have stopped by there. So I did my research. I started Googling.
That was one of his last public appearances.
Was it?
I think so. We were with Sid. 3 of his last 5 that he did before he got really ill. Kansas City was one of them. And then what was the last show we did with Sid? Indianapolis.
Mm.
And man, he was in a really shitty mood that week. And I don't think that he was feeling particularly well. God, when was that? Was that summer? No, was that?
The last time I saw him was in July.
Yeah, that was July.
City. I counted the days, man. I'm weird. It was 63 days after, I think 68 days after I saw him, he had passed. I was like, man, had I known what I know then, you know what I mean?
We got that from a lot of people. I know. Yeah. Listen to this. He invited us. Sid got recognized for a Lifetime Achievement Award, the Vincent Price Lifetime Achievement Award for horror icons. And he picked up that award in LA. Sid and Kevin a text. He's like, hey, I want you guys to come to this. So I immediately called Kevin and said, hey, let's make plans to go to this because I'm really fearful that this may be one of the last times. And I don't know why I thought that. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that you could tell he was tired and he wasn't feeling well. And I was in the middle of another movie and Kevin was in the middle of a big shift at work. For whatever reason, we just couldn't make that because we had to do it in like a 36-hour window. We just couldn't make it work. We were going to literally go to LA, go to the event, come right back home. We just couldn't do it. And so believe me, when you talk about regret, I feel you. Right. I know.
Yeah. It was, it came as a shock, and when I was there in Kansas City and I met him, even then he wasn't feeling it. You know what I mean? Yeah. It was just one of those things. I was like, oh man, took a picture. I said a few words to him, and and that was it, And then
I think in that window, I think in that Kansas City, Indianapolis window in that summer, last summer, I think he was doing back to back to back shows, or he had like five shows in a 4 to 6 week period or something. It was insane. And I remember talking to Kevin. I'm like, man, this makes me uneasy. I mean, you know how those shows are when you're a vendor, or if you do what we would usually do, which is not only did we have our own table, we would help manage SIDS as well. And when you're in that line that never stops, man, that is a hell of a day. That's a hell of a day.
Yeah, I've witnessed it. It's wild. It's nonstop, and you get. I don't fanboy out over celebrities. You know what I mean? I'm not like that, but I do enjoy talking to celebrities, meeting them, obviously. But there's some crazy fans. It's just nonstop. You know what I mean? So
Nonstop.
I could see where it's playing, especially Sid at his age. It was all about the fans, but some of the fans were ridiculous. You know what I mean? I watched it. I was like, ugh, like, move on. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, Jesus, like, go to the next person.
He was good at giving. Sid was a master at giving fans, respectfully their 60 to 90 seconds of time with him. But he'd also say, look, I've got a lot of people here. If you want to come back when it slows down, I'll be happy to talk to you more. He was a fucking master at that. But yeah, and what's funny? I've never been to a horror convention as a fan or guest. I've always gone as a filmmaker with a movie to screen, as a vendor, or working alongside a celebrity. I don't know what the other side is like. I can only imagine it's just as fucking tiring.
It's I do some other work with another company that's like a movie memorabilia stuff, and in the March I'm heading up to Cincinnati, and I've done a few signings with some celebrities and stuff. So
Are you going to Horror Hound?
Yeah, I'll be up there. March.
You'll see us there.
Yeah, I plan on probably seeing y'all and saying a few words. I'm going to be super busy too because I'm not going to be there as a passerby. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be like,
you're working it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually working, so it's
a different animal, isn't it?
It is. It's not. I guess it's not as enjoyable. I don't know. It's enjoyable, but it's. I'm there to work. It's not the kind of like.
I mean, they're always fun. Like the environment's fun, but you're right.
Looking at how Skeletons in the Closet was filmed, and I'm very intrigued because I look at movies because I'm kind of into the game with the editing. I'm not huge in it like you are or anything, but just the way it's filmed and the certain edits and this, I notice little details. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Like some people don't appreciate it. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, let's watch this movie. And I'm over here looking at freaking the way it's filmed, the way it's little edits thrown in there.
Takes you right out of it sometimes, right? I find it hard to watch movies, for that reason.
And, I'm like, what's this about again? Because, I
don't know.
But I'm very... Skeletons in the Closet, and I'm not here to blow smoke up your ass, but Skeletons in the Closet is honestly, truly, probably one of my new favorite anthology movies. Because the way it's filmed, and obviously you were the director, the producer, the editor in it. How many did y'all have? Like 4 or 5 of y'all kind of got y'all's hands in it.
I think I had my everything. I mean, production design, set deck, writing. As you know, I'm a voiceover actor in the movie.
Yes, Channel 13. Fuck
Chan-
yeah.
You know what's funny? You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised at how popular that is now. I get people that frequently hit me up on Instagram, and they'll just say Channel 13, fuck yeah, and that's all they'll say. I don't know how they find me, but they find me. And the funny thing about that is that wasn't scripted. Like the rest of the movie, I was winging that.
And that's what makes him so good.
Inside the skeleton script, it just says Channel 13 plays on the television. So, and here I'll tell you the reason that I have ADHD really bad. So when Liz comes in the living room, and she sits down, she starts looking around the room. There's some dead space there, if you pay attention. So I'm like, this is kind of dull for a couple of minutes until she starts talking to Lainey, who's the little girl.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? We need something in the background. We need either some fake commercials or just television noise. And then I was like, all right, it's Channel 13. Let's just do a fake channel, and I'm going to record. I'll be the newscaster. I'm like, no, kind of like the narrator to help the audience, the viewing audience, kind of, get comfortable with the surroundings. And initially I was going to turn it over to one of the composers of the movie, a guy named DC Chicago, who does voiceover work, and he's got a better range than I do. I told my other producers, I'm like, look, I'm going to record this temporarily, and then we'll have him lay down a new track. And they said, no, this is perfect. Just leave it the way it is. And that was
just leave it.
Like I said, it wasn't planned. It wasn't written that way. We were just kind of like the rest of the movie, making it up as we went along. So do you know the official history of this movie? Because it is wild.
So I looked into a little bit what I could. I know, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, on certain sources that I've kind of. Is it like a 6-year project? Is that where
That's
I'm getting
correct.
it from? Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like 6 years, y'all. And I guess some of the little how could I say it? the mini movies. I don't know how would you say it.
Yeah,
Was ideas that I guess y'all or you and a buddy had, kind of like, I guess, a long time ago, and it's like, well, let's throw it on here or something like that. And then that's
You're
about
close.
as far as I know. I mean, yeah.
No, that's pretty much the Cliff Notes version of it. So in 2012, in March, I was in LA, and I made a call kind of out of the blue to basically randomly. I mean, I knew the other filmmakers' names. I knew that work they had done. I knew that they knew how to complete a movie. So I just didn't pick names out of a hat. But I did a little bit of research. So I contacted 3 directors. And I said, hey, I know you don't know me from Adam, but we have mutual friends, XYZ. I'm putting an anthology film together. The anthology film is going to be called Chop Shop. And we're each going to do a movie. We're each going to finance it independently, put them all together, create a bridge, which we didn't really have planned at that time, and then we'll figure it out later.
Mm-hmm.
And lo and behold, Tony, the coach on Skeletons, he was shooting his movie, Grandma O'Malley's Pantry, that Memorial Day, like 6-7 weeks after that initial phone call. And then another director named John from Chicago, and then there was another director who I'm not going to mention. They did their movies that summer. I followed. Fast forward about 1.5 years, movies complete, but we couldn't really settle on what to do with them, and we had to call for some changes editorially in order to fit all the movies into one cohesive narrative. And the other 2 directors really didn't to acquiesce to the group. So Tony and I figured out a way to merge our movies. If you pay attention to Skeletons really carefully, you'll notice that there's connective tissue between Grandma O'Malley and the Dismantler, which is the one in the junkyard.
Yeah, I saw. I caught that.
Yeah, and we did that intentionally later, knowing that we were going to lose these two other filmmakers. So this would have been about 2014. Fast forward, came into play, which of course, as you know, that took a long time as well.
Yes, it
got
did.
involved,
I am tracking that.
Yeah, we got involved in a called Break, and I got in lots of movies in that time. And then you fast forward to about 2017 in the springtime, and Tony approached us with the skeleton and the Charlie and the Widow subplot, also known as Skeletons in the Closet, and the subplot with the little girl, the babysitter, aka a killer's in the house. So what you're seeing is a merging of those two concepts. A incomplete anthology film called Chop Shop, which, as you know, movie inside of the show. That's why it's called Chop Shop. A movie inside of a show, inside of a TV channel, inside of a movie, inside of an anthology. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I saw. Yeah, no, I was catching on to some of the here's and there's in it. I was like, okay, so I'm trying to keep up. I'm like, okay, so because towards the end, well, basically the end, the I don't even know what it was called. I guess the killer. He comes in. He's going towards the what was her name? I don't forget her name. The girl on the couch, not the girl on the couch. The girl watched the movie. The little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, so I guess there's more to it. I was like, so it didn't mention that, but yet it was a VHS and Ellie Church is talking to the. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm trying to piece everything together because everything was like, this and that, and I was like, I like it.
I'm not gonna lie to you. It is a confusing movie, but at the end, it does all make sense. But I'd be lying to you if I said that you're gonna pick it all up. There's just too much going on. I mean, you got the fucking TV swearing at you, and then there's a movie inside of a movie, and there's fake commercials. Mention in the background, the best part of Skeletons is in the background. We recorded a lot of fake Channel 13 material. There's fake trailers going on, and like I'm a big Sylvester Stallone Cobra fan from '86, which is when the movie takes place. Pay attention in the background. About when the third act starts, there's a trailer called Viper with Maximilian Malone, and that's my nod to Cobra. But there's a whole bunch of stuff like that. It's
I didn't even catch that. I have to go back and
they're all over there.
And
there's fake products named after people from the movie. Like one of our producers, his name is Sarah Sharp, and she's got her own clothing line called Sharp Jeans. There's Stern beer named after the photography, Robert Patrick Stern. Tony does this fake erotic horror movie called Deadly Intruder. There's a fake battery. It's Skeletons is a ridiculously deep movie.
I enjoyed it, and I tell you, the Widow and Charlie, I could see something. I could see another movie or something inspiring just from them two. I like their characters.
We're debating it.
I was like, oh man, these two could be, they wouldn't have to do nothing lavish or even crazy. They could just sit on this couch and talk shit to each other, and then, you know what I mean? They had their own little thing together.
Oh, their chemistry is unreal. And here's the best part. They had done Skype rehearsals previous, but the day we shot that, and we shot listen to this. This is actually pretty incredible. The opening title sequence, which is a very clever nod to Dress to Kill, and that was shot in the same house as the fake sketch. That was all shot in one day. Got all of those two and the opening title sequence in one day.
Wow.
It was incredible. But they had never met face to face before, and their chemistry second to none. It's pretty incredible.
You could see it.
They clearly like each other, and what's funny is Tony and I would. It was mostly Tony. I'm directing's not my forte. I direct in the editing room, but I would approach the actors once in a while. And Tony would too, and you could tell they didn't really want us anywhere near them because they're having such a good time. I mean, that's the thing.
Yeah.
That's why I think people gravitate to their scenes, because you can clearly tell they're having a good time, and we were, especially on the newer sequences. We were not having a good time during the sequences filming, quote, Chop Shop. Not the Dismantle was hard as fuck too, but Chop Shop was, we were literally where you think we were. We were not on set. We were in old, decrepit, disgusting camper that had been left abandoned and had been empty for, I don't know, a decade or so. It was probably built in the 40s or 50s. I think it was one of those Stream Gent ones. And it was shot that in late summer too, and it was filthy. That was those were not fun days. But the on location stuff with Ellie and Adam, that's the other thing too. Adam Michaels, who does have some acting experience, but he was a relative newbie. He had not a lot of film experience, and his screen presence is, it's kinetic.
Yeah, they did an awesome job. And I was like, hell, the movie could just be about these two the whole time.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I was like, oh, this is pretty good.
Well, we've had some interest. We haven't gone the entire distance with it. We've had some interest with developing Skeletons into a show. I would rather see a sequel, not necessarily an anthology, but a sequel to Skeletons. I actually have a killer 14-page outline on how to do it, but it would be significantly more expensive than. You want to take a guess what Skeletons cost, by the way?
I would probably say, no, don't laugh at me. I'm not a movie guy. I would probably say that was probably 35,000.
Okay, that's not a bad guess, actually. Some people have said something ridiculous like $500,000. That was actually, over the course of 6 years, we ended up spending around $20,000. Now, to post the movie further before we launched it publicly, there was a little bit more money. But basically, from 2012 to our end of post, final sound mixing, was about $20,000, which is, I mean, that'll never happen again. That's a staggering number. I mean, that's extremely cheap, especially considering how big, in terms of scope, Skeletons is. I mean, you've got 6 movies spanning 6 years, generally the same crew, which is one of the reasons we were able to keep costs relatively cheap. But it's a massive movie in terms of the scope, narrative scope. Lots of visual effects. There's like the practical makeup effects. There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of money in this project, and it wasn't expensive. I mean, you can make you can make good feature films for cheap, but I got to tell you, you got to be surrounded by people who believe in the project and are willing to work.
Yeah,
and that's hard
passion.
Now. Yeah. Oh yeah. It's we would never be able to do that again. I have no doubt. There's no way you're going to get people to work.
Yeah. Well,
those long hours for because we were younger, and it's just plus the movie market has changed. Obviously.
No, I noticed. No, yeah, I on one of my other podcasts, I mentioned CGI. I mentioned how CGI has ruined horror movies from my outlook on things. Because that's why I'm drawn to the indie films. You got the way you can manipulate certain scenes of like death, makes the film a little more believable than a CGI type death. You know what I'm saying?
Totally. And let's face it, horror fans, even if the practical makeup effects aren't great, horror fans respect and understand the work that goes into those.
Yeah.
And I think they're a lot more lenient when it comes to questionable practical, as opposed to, and I'm sure you've seen it in many, many movies, the greatest violator that I can think of would be the Thing prequel that came out.
I knew it was coming. I
You know
knew
what
you were going to say it.
You know what I'm talking about. And you know
I know
what?
what you're talking about.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? I just recently saw that. It's like that and Blues Brothers 2000. I'm like, I'm never seeing this. I'll never see Blues Brothers 2000. Thing 2011, I had to watch. Because a movie I was working on, the filmmakers wanted me to watch a particular sequence, and so I watched the ending. I'm like, you know what? This is a real bag of dicks. I'm curious if this movie is better in the sequences without. And sure enough, had they left the practical makeup effects alone, that movie probably would have been fine.
Oh yeah, I agree.
It's awful. Those effects are they're laughable.
So here's one for you. I love this movie. This movie is so cringy and it's so horrible. Basket Case.
Oh sure.
I fucking love that movie. Because that's old school. Regardless of how much money you bring to the table, regardless of who you have in it, you know what I mean? The passion. Like, whoever or whatever sought to do like a horror movie with basic minimums, you know, like the indie films. The indie films to me is why I love horror. These new ones like The New Thing, and even the It films with the CGI, and you know, and I don't know,
way too much CGI.
Like just bring it back to the basic. Like if I was Tom Savini, I would be rolling over right now. I'd be like, I'm never touching another horror movie from here on out, you know, because he was all about the practical effects and his makeup and all that. But now it's like CGI. Oh, don't worry, we just throw some CGI in there on there. But Basket Case, to me, coming back around to Basket Case, I love that movie. it's just so cringy too. You know, little bastard. The little, was it Bilal?
Bilal, yeah.
Bilal, yeah. So cringy, so good though.
I think that we have. I think there actually are a handful of VFX shots in Skeletons in terms of makeup, but they're hard to spot because there's so few of them.
Right, and let's take it back. So it's okay. It's okay. It's a tool in your tool bag as an editor, director, producer. It's not a bad thing by no means. But if you're solely going into a movie and you're relying on it, like, oh, we don't need to do that. We can do this. You know what I mean? I guess maybe I'm looking at it like the passion.
Yeah.
You know, like, make it real. Don't rely on your edits. Don't get me wrong. I like editing videos. I like to throw little clips in there for our ads for the company and make our little promo. You know, it's fun. But if you're going to make a movie and you're going to have passion and heart, you know, go in it like you want it. Because I got so many good movies in my head, but I know when I go to try to make them, you know, it's gonna turn out the way I'm thinking. So,
you know, it's funny. You'd be surprised how many people, even filmmakers, don't. It's hard. It's hard, man.
I can only imagine. So, I got a question for you. So, let's say I do a 60-second clips, ads, here's and there's for a little promo, you know, something crazy. There's something I'll throw together for the company, and we'll boost it and get the ad out there. So it legit took me I swear it took me 2 hours to do 60 seconds. So I know where you're going. You know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going. Go ahead.
So my question to you is, because obviously your forte is the edits. So for an 80-minute film, now let's take Skeletons for example. I know it took 6 years, But, and this is probably hard to do the math on, but for you, how long did it take, or does it take in general, to put an edit on an 80-minute film? Like, what is there, like 24 hours of just nonstop coffee, Red Bull, and I can't
Well,
stop?
here's the thing. This is the thing that's hard to understand if you're not a filmmaker, or if you're not an editor. That's a tough question because it really depends on the movie. For example, I worked on a movie 2 years ago that had the most festival accolades I've ever had. I've done 22 features and 200 movies. This was a movie called Olympia, a Chicago-based film director named Greg Dixon. And when I got that movie, I basically had the assembly done in a rapid-fire window of 3 weeks. And by the time we hit 2 months, I had completed my third pass. Now, Olympia is a different type of film, though. It has a very, very deliberate and exacting script. There was some wiggle room in terms of transitions and moving scenes, but for the most part, the movie that you see was the script. I mean, I gave it flourishes here and there. I mean, believe me, I'd cut it. But for the most part, it is the script. A different story. Once we actually started editing the movie that would become Skeletons, we started in April of 2017. By the time we got into fall, we were in pretty good shape. But remember, with Skeletons is we were inventing stuff at the movie. You know what I mean? Like, for example, there's a lot of things in Skeletons that didn't exist even after the 2 new segments had been completed. We still hadn't worked out a lot of problems. Channel 13 didn't exist. There wasn't a swearing television. There wasn't this other movie of the movie. All these little flourishes. You know, like, for example, the movie opens up with an actual short film that my co-director had done called The Muck.
Yeah.
None of those things had been thought of. So we were basically making it up as we went along. And to illustrate even further, this is precisely what High in the Hog was. I can sit here and tell you that I had a plan. And I sold, when I sold Kevin the redesign and told him it would only cost like $5 when it cost God knows how much, I, for the most part, did have a plan, but it didn't include all the detail. Like Hog, the devil's in the fucking details. I mean, there's 4,000 movie, 4,000, and I accounted for like, I don't know, 25% of those.
Wow.
So it really depends on the movie. I'm on a feature right now that is very bare bones, minimal coverage. For the most part, I have to follow the script because I have no other choice. I have been calling for some pickups. I am going to have to make some of the stuff as I go along, but that is a good that's a good example of 50-50, because I've got straight script work, but there's other things they didn't have money to shoot, so I have to invent how to tell pieces of the story, which we did in both of the movies, both Skeletons and Hog. If you know them well enough, you can pretty much tell we were just kind of winging it. To answer your question, it really depends on the film. I mean, yeah, I've worked on features before for a 4 to 6 month window, and that's it. The movie's out 2 months later. Or I've been on films where it go on for 6 years. And you know the stories. It's not exactly, well, we just didn't finish the movie. It's so much more complicated than that. Like Hog. Do you know the story? I'll give you the cliff notes of Hog's background, and then when you talk to Kevin, he can fill in the gaps. I'll truncate this for you. So Hog was shot in 2012, And by the end of 2014, it was done. But here's where it gets interesting. It's a completely different version than the one you've seen. Completely different. And the reason that that was made is Kevin couldn't sell that version. No one was interested. And here's where it gets even more ironic. That original version of the movie is more in keeping with true Grindhouse because it's very slowly paced. It's very deliberate, very methodical, kind of languid. I wouldn't say that it's some people would say it's boring. I wouldn't necessarily say it's boring. It's definitely different. If you love Hogg's current version, you could, you'd probably sit through it. It's just not the same animal. It's a completely different animal.
Yeah.
But Kevin couldn't sell the movie for whatever reason. So we went back to the drawing board and I pitched him on what I call retro Grindhouse, which is basically us sending up the Grindhouse genre. That's why everything is everything is over the top. That's why instead of a transition of a standard wipe, we cut to an explosion and then show tits. That doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense for that movie, right? Like
Yeah.
After a while, you're like, okay, that makes sense. I just saw an explosion and then tits came out of it. All right,
Yeah.
I'll buy that.
I'll take it.
Not to mention, I'm not gonna lie to you. That movie is intentionally made for the stoner crowd. It's
Oh yeah.
100%. 100%.
Oh, I know. I turned my buddy onto it. He's out in California.
Oh, so he probably loves it.
Yeah. He said he saw me pushing, high on the hog, get your copy. 'Cause, I was trying to influence, and 9 times out of 10, if I try to influence something, it's probably something I have a passion and I like for it. I'm not gonna blow smoke up people's asses, and it's not the way I'll roll. You know what I mean? Like, I
Yeah,
have a
no
passion
false
behind
advertising here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking bullshit anybody, but he's like, dude, what's this hog shit? And I was like, bro, you gotta get on board, man. Like, there's titties, there's fucking dope, there's killings, there's Sid Haig, and then you got Ellie Church, and you have all these.
You got Maniac Cop.
Yeah. Was it Dazar? What was
Bobby Zadar, yeah.
Yeah, Dazar. And I remember him a long time ago, and I honestly forgot all about that guy until I watched High on the Hog.
Oh, a lot of people did.
I was like, oh my god, where has this guy been? I did some research. I was like, oh man, he passed away. He actually passed away in the town I was born in, Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, I was like, wow, how
Small world, right?
crazy that is. I remember watching Motley Crue in Pensacola in 2005. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could. But yeah, man, I turned him on to it. I believe he bought him a copy, or he watched it on Amazon or something. But yeah, he loved it. He's like, yo, this movie's the shit. There's tits, and there's tits in it. And I was like, that's it? That's all you like? He's like, well, Sid Haig, and there's killings. I was like, you're welcome.
We showed it in. Were you there for the? Did you stay for the outdoor screening in Kansas City when they showed it out in the street?
I didn't. I left super early. I was just trying to get back. I had to work the next day, and it was like a 4 or 5 hour drive.
Oh man,
So
it's okay. No, don't worry about it. Because I tell you, the picture quality was not good, but it was a surreal experience because you're out there in the street with 100 other people watching this movie. But here's the best part about it. This weird clown, for some reason, introduces the movie, and this is all he says. He goes, all right, he looks at the Blu-ray, he goes, this is Eye in the Hog, it's got, then he turns the Blu-ray box and looks at the back, and he goes, it's got Sid Haig and weed and titties. And that was it. That was his intro. And you know what? He nailed it. Yeah, he nailed it. Everybody started applauding. You got it. That's it.
Hey. Whatever. Whatever works. So I noticed Ellie. So is she like y'all's go-to for y'all's films? I noticed she's in the two High on the Hog and Skeletons. Or is she like the go-to actor for y'all? Or
You know what? We got lucky with Ellie. Ellie came to us. I pitched the Hog Brain Trust early on during the redesign. I said, "Look, this is what I want to do." And I'm sure I said something ridiculous to Kevin, like, "This is only going to cost $100," which not even close.
Probably didn't.
my first idea on the redesign, the first ambitious one anyway, was I wanted to riff on Walter Hill's Warriors. So I wanted us to get a DJ, and the DJ would help explain some of the gaps in logic and some of the gaps in the narrative. And basically what I wanted is, you've seen Sicario, right? You haven't seen Sicario?
No, I don't think.
I'm trying to give you an example of this concept. It's basically Ellie's the audience. She's helping the audience understand what's going on, because Hog is also a very complicated movie in terms of the narrative. There's a lot of shit going on in Hog. It's just that you're so high, you're like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know. You know what I mean? So Ellie was there to help explain things, or at least smooth out the rough edges. And if you pay attention to the way Hog is photographed, especially in the opening scenes, you notice that we only show below her nose. Because I told the DP, Rob, I was like, I think initially I said, we just need to shoot her mouth, because I want to riff on the Warriors. And the problem is, Ellie's such a good actress, and she's so pretty. I think the DP obviously opened up his lens selection, and we shot obviously a lot more than that. But initially, that was the plan. God, what is her name again? Hold on for a minute. Her name is, my brain mush, Lynn Thigpen. That was the DJ in the Warriors. Right. What was my point? Where was I going with this?
So
it's
gravitation around her in general.
So, and I think Tony had contacted I think Scott Shermer, the director of Found, and said, "Hey, we're looking for a Midwestern actress who could pull off a DJ," and that was his referral. And I remember Tony showed me her audition tape, and I'm like, "That's it. Just hire her. You're done." And then when Skeletons came to being, Tony and I had talked about that, and I think I just told him, just call Ellie. And here's what's interesting. Ellie looked at the script, and initially, believe it or not, she didn't want to do it. And I understand why, because here's the thing. On paper, this doesn't look like much, the two new stories. They're funny, but it doesn't look like much. So I understand why she was hesitant. And I don't know what the fuck Tony said to her, but they reached a pretty suitable conclusion for everybody. I think I had told Tony at one point that if Ellie didn't do the movie, then I was just going to quit or drop out. I'm famous for doing that. Once the movie's over, though, I can't use that thread anymore because the movie's over. But anyway, yeah, he convinced her to do it, and thank the fuck Christ, because I mean, the stupid goddamn television is funny, but it's no Widow. I mean, her and Adam, right. and Lainey and Liz, but it's mostly the chemistry between what some of the people on the cast and crew called, the Bundys. It's basically Married with Children.
Was it Married with Children?
Yeah.
Elvira.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, hey, it does.
Yeah, but she really nailed that, though. She's terrific in that movie. I shouldn't say that. She actually gets plenty of credit. She should get more, because she really is quite good. She won an award at Horrorhound. No. Horrorhound? Yeah, Horrorhound in Indy last year for Hog.
Oh, wow.
And she's
Yeah,
equally good in that.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing something about that. Now, I know some of the other ladies on the cast on the Hog movie are. I can't think of their names off the top of my head. I follow them on Instagram, but they
There's
did
a
an
lot.
awesome job too. Yeah, there was a lot of them. That's why I'm like, I don't know. You know what I mean? I see their faces and I see their names, but I wouldn't be able to tell you because there's quite a few.
Fiona Domenica, Brenda Whitehead, and Sarah Timon. They're Lenore, Lola, and Laura, and then Lucy is played by an actress in LA called Katrina. And actually, the interesting part about Katrina's role is one of the things that I wanted to do with Hog, which never got made because it was. I don't think anyone understood what I was even talking about. And I think the only person I expressed this to early on was Kevin. But there was actually another subplot with her, which would have been – it wouldn't have been confusing. I think it actually would have been cool. But the problem is that had we done it, we would not have been able to get to Sid until we hit like the 30-minute mark in the movie, which, if you pay attention to Fargo by the Coen brothers – they don't get to Frances McDormand for like 25 minutes in that. So we could have maybe swung it. But anyway, yeah, she's in it. Jesse C. Boyd is in it. Jesse C. Boyd obviously was on Walking Dead. The great Joe Estevez, who I've never actually met, which is too bad because we'd probably get along. That's Martin Sheen's brother.
Yes.
A whole bunch of local Chicago actors are really, really good. I'm actually in it, but I'm only in it for literally I'm the dead body that's just committed suicide in a bathtub. If you can find me, my hat's off to you, sir. But I assure you, I'm in the film.
Oh, wow. I'm talking to a well-known celebrity now, huh?
Yeah, oh yeah. I
killed autographs here in a little bit.
Yeah, really. We thought of doing that as a joke.
You should.
And having one still, because that's literally what I'm in the movie for. Oh shit!
Post it up.
And you know what's funny?
Copy.
Even though I'm dead, I suck in it too.
I got a buddy of mine. And I'm in the Army. You know, I try to keep the Army out of what I like to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love the Army. I love to do it. But my buddy's the same way. And we were stationed together in Louisiana. And
Camp Lejeune?
Fort Polk, Louisiana. I think Lejeune's in California, I believe. That's a Marine base, I believe.
Oh, yeah. What am I thinking?
Yeah, Army, Fort Polk, Louisiana. And he's like, I got this great idea, man. He's like, we're going to do this. And I was like, oh, shit. He's like, we're going to do a movie. We're going to do a horror movie, and it's going to be great. Like we wrote out this elaborate bullshit over the phone on DM. Yeah, we're going to do this, and then he's going to wear like a Vietnam gas mask. And it's like, so he was so adamant about it, his passion. I was like, I guess I got to get on board with this. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
how far did you guys take it? Did you take it the whole way?
We took it to about as far as me telling him, all right, man, I'll holler at you later. And I got stationed here in Missouri. And he's like, and he gets stationed here in Missouri. 6 months later, he's like, hey, bro, I dropped orders. I'm coming to Missouri. And you know what's going to happen. I was like, please do not mention this fucking movie. You know? And sure enough, he's like, yo, we're in Missouri now. It's like, it's got to happen. It's like all this woods. There's hills. There's mountains here. It's like, Jesus. But I've always wanted to do it. Like, I've always wanted to do a movie. But I couldn't act to save my life. I can barely lie to my wife. You know what I'm saying? To try to act on film. But I would be I think I'd be more the guy behind the scenes kind of guy. Like, that's where I want to sit. You know what I mean?
You know what? Putting yourself in a movie that you're heavily invested in, whether or not you're the editor or you're a fucking gaffer. I mean, it can be fun. I'm talking about obviously a non-speaking role, ridiculous and very, very small.
Me too. Like, yeah, I'm in a movie. What's up? Oh yeah, which one? I'm the dude taking a shit when the camera pans over. You know what I mean? I'd be the same way as you. Like, you put me in a movie, give me one little scene, I'll be happy. But don't put me on the spotlight where I have to remember a script or express myself when I have to, like, basically act. So yeah, just throw me in there. I'll be a dead body. No big deal.
Right.
And I'm hoping we'll do some some autographs out. But yeah, that's about as far as that idea went. He's still hurt. He still hounds me today. And I'm like, dude, how are we gonna pull this off? Like, we're broke. We don't make enough money to even remotely try to even talk about even trying to do a movie. It's like, it'll never happen.
You know what? It's not necessarily the money that trips people up. I get asked this question a lot, and this is what I tell people. Even if you're experienced, if you want to put a movie together, at a minimum, this is lightning fast speed to get it done in this window. You have to work on it every day, and I mean every day, for a year, for an entire, and that's at a minimum. It's usually longer than that if you're supervising, if you're doing what I'm doing. Like, if I was to go back, say right now, I've got a couple of scripts that I'm thinking about doing independently, and I mean completely independently. Even if I supervise my own post, I would probably be looking at, I'd say 12 to 15 months. And I've done a lot of these.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
And here's the thing. If you've got a giant crew or you've got money, you're still in pre-production for several months. You're in post-production for several months. It may only take you 3 to 6 weeks to actually shoot the film on location. But the prep work, and the more people you have, bigger the movie is, the more prep work you're going to have, the more post work you're going to have. So like I said, if you want to do it, you can, like I said, Skeletons was not an expensive movie. You can make good looking quality. I always right now, if you keep your movie very, very small and you have very, very small shooting unit, you keep your crew complement to like under 6, you could conceivably make a movie for $40,000. You're not going to make a $5,000 feature. It's just not going to happen.
No, I know
it's
that.
not. You have to have, and here's why. You have to, at a bare minimum, you have to pay people.
I'll just play it off in my head, man.
Here's the thing. You keep doing these podcasts, and you're going to run into enough of us, and then all of a sudden you're going to be like, "Hey, I'm going to crowdfund something. Trust me." We get guys like us like, "Hey, I'll give you a hand. We need a hand. You need a trailer? No problem. Call me. Need some editorial work? Call me." That's honestly, every colleague I have right now is basically just going to events, going to screenings, making calls randomly, harassing people, saying, "Hey, who's this? I need somebody to this. Who do you recommend for this?" It's all word of mouth. Well, that film school. But film school, I'll be honest with you, film school became completely irrelevant within 2 years after I got out. I'm glad I went, but
yeah. But so basically, I don't know. I'm ignorant when it comes to this kind of stuff. So with the film school behind your belt, yeah, you've learned a lot. But is it just to stack your resume if you did put yourself out there? Is that how it works? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I'm asking. Is that? I've always wondered. Like,
oh, you mean
film school?
Did I need to go to film school?
Yeah. Did you need to go? You know what I mean?
That is a difficult question to answer, and I'll tell you why. I went at a very, very strange time. When I entered film school, shooting on film stock was the medium of choice. That was the technology that we had before us. There was no doubt about it.
Gotcha.
The time I graduated, the rumor mill had already started that the industry was going to go digital within a decade. And guess what, man? I graduated June 90. By the time 2008 rolled around, you saw big studios like Public Enemy, for example, shooting on digital video. Now, I went to film school not as a filmmaker. I wanted to be an academic. I wanted to teach at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reason, I just got tempted by being around filmmakers day in and day out. And I learned early on that I could make money while in film school by editing. And that right there is why most editors are in this business. Nobody wants to be a fucking film editor. What a stupid job. It's so thankless. But
it's needed.
Oh, it's absolutely needed. And
it's needed.
And you know what? It's I'm obviously poking fun at myself. It's not only necessary, but it is very, very rewarding.
Oh yeah.
And when I was in film school, the lesson to be learned in that stuffy 4x6 editing bay was, it taught me patience. That patience translates to where I am right now. That if you cannot be an editor if you're not patient. You know what they say, it's the loneliest room in the film business, because you're by yourself for sometimes weeks or months at a time.
Yeah. No,
and that's fine. Like being alone? I mean, can you work alone?
Like when I do these little edits here and there, and I have a YouTube channel, and I basically do that just to do the edit part. Yeah, I sit in here and just kind of zone out to my own self. I've had a lot of ups and downs. I know the heartaches of fucking up, and going back, and then going back in it. But for the most part, yeah, it's just me in here, and I self-taught. I didn't go to school for it. It's nothing, my level, when I say edit, it's nowhere near what your status is. But it's something that I enjoy doing just in general. It's just.
Well, here's the thing. If you truly enjoy doing it, not only will you get better at it, but you'll continue to like it even more. The coolest thing about being a pro editor, or even a novice editor, is you can actually watch yourself evolve over time.
Yeah.
But you gotta practice it, which means you have to find things to work on. So if somebody brings you a movie, short film, for example, and you know it's going to be terrible, doesn't matter. I used to never turn things down. I would take anything because, we're basically painters and we need a palette. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter if the movie's good or not. I'll try to make it better. It doesn't matter because I'm practicing.
Right.
If you're working in a fashion where you're solving problems, it doesn't honestly matter.
No, it's true.
How good the film is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite honestly, you'll learn more from a bad movie than you will from a good.
That's true. That's a good perspective, the way you put it, because just getting started, just doing it. Anybody asks, "Hey, you want to do this?" Damn right.
Exactly. I mean, that's the best. That's the best answer. Yeah. And you know what? You know what I found too. Never turn anybody down. No, don't say no. Like, I still won't say no. I'll price myself out of jobs on purpose, but I won't say no, because you never know. And I mean this right here is the golden rule. You never know when that man or woman, that filmmaker, you did this, they asked you, like, look, can you help me? I have no money. You're like, sure. Thank you. I like this project. No problem. Or they have a minimal amount of money. And then job, you do it to the best of your ability. 2 years later, they have a big ass fucking budget and they hire you. And you know what? That's happened to me more than once. But yeah, when I was getting started, I would never say I'd never say no. I would take fucking
Right.
everything.
Yeah. And that's, a lot of people need to have that outlook if they're coming into the business, that don't let your ego fucking fuck you out of something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And that's a good way to look at it, because I'll scratch your back today, but remember me down the road.
Absolutely. You know what? This is a very incestuous industry. It really is a small world. I mean, I know filmmakers right now in most of the goddamn continents except for Antarctica. All over the country. Everybody knows everybody.
No, I imagine it's a small world. I mean, in that industry, just due to the simple fact that network. I'd imagine social networking within your, I guess, how can I put it, your side of it. Like, hey, I know Tom from years ago. I'm gonna call him up and I'm gonna have him do this, and then reach out to Bill. Hey, Bill, remember this? And then it's like, next thing you know, it's like a circle of, a round robin. Like, I can phone this guy and we can do this, and he can help me with this. And then you social network and you learn from it from there. I could see that, because a lot of it happens. The Army being so big, it happens in the Army too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There,
absolutely.
So
well, and you're a horror con guy. You've been to these horror cons. I mean, you see how popular they are, and you do see the same people.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Year in and year out.
It's wild.
It is wild. It's a weird. It really is. It's a weird industry. It's a weird family that's developed. They've gotten insanely popular, but in a narrower way. It's almost as if, you got three things going on. You've got a whole celebrity angle, and then you've got like the film festival sides of things. And then you have this like almost family interaction between all of these people that have been going to these things for, I don't know. I mean, realistically, when did these get really popular? Like 2000, right after Corpses and Devil's Rejects come out, like 2003 or 2006.
2003, yeah. I'd say that.
And then about a decade ago, like 2010, is when they really started to show up all over the country.
Yep. No, it's really exploded, and even the actors, hell, know some of these people that show up every year by first name basis. It's like, oh, hey, what's up, man? You know what I mean? That
they remember
shows
you.
How many times, I got a friend. She's really big. She loves Kane Hodder. He played, several Jason films. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. Like, legit knows her by first name, sends each other, stuff to each other, and then it's like, all right, well, Kane, I'll see you next year. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, do you really go to them that much? Like, shit. And then I know some buddies that's their thing. They save up all year, get a hotel, get VIP passes, and they make it part of their life.
Oh, they don't fuck around. It's like vacation.
And they don't.
It's like going to Cabo or Paris. Oh yeah, like they don't mess around. They go to every event. They get every autograph. And what's funny? We only did the circuit. We only did it side by side with Sid for that long, 2 to 3 years, and I would see the same people, and I mean dozens of the same people, and they'd come up. Sometimes people would come up and Sid be like, "Wow, I remember you. How long's it been?" You're thinking, "Oh, it's been like 2 years." "Oh, we haven't seen you since 1980," and you're like, "What the?" And that's how long these people. I mean, Sid's different because acting for 7 goddamn decades. They've been around since 1960.
Yeah.
But I will give the fans this: their loyalty is unquestioned. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. The loyalty is definitely there, and it's weird because in like the horror community, I guess you could say the horror community, they're tried and true. They like some of these horror groups on these social media networks, man. It's like diehard brother and sister. You mention one thing that someone doesn't agree with, and it's like you better get ready because you're about to get some backlash, you know. And it was like Jesus, like it was just an opinion. Calm down, you know what I mean? I know Tom from 5 generations of going to these cons. You don't talk to him like that. It's like, well, calm down, you know. It's just ain't an opinion here. No, but I see it. It is a very tight group.
Very
Especially in the
loyal.
very loyal, and especially when it comes to autographs in general. You know, these people pay and live for the autograph. Same people every year. If you're seeing the same person, they're going to get an autograph from that same person every year. You know,
You want
because
to
it's so
you want to
loyal.
hear something funny? I've been seeing Sid for years at these things, and I don't think. In fact, I know this. I never actually got anything autographed from Sid, which is kind of sad because, you know, you'd think that
Yeah.
I mean, I've got my official poster signed, but Kevin got that for me. Yeah. I just never thought to be like, hey, Sid, autograph this weird thing for me because I don't know.
Right.
We were friends. It's kind of weird. Like, you know,
It's different.
you're with your
It
buddy.
is.
You're not going to be like, hey, will you autograph something for me? That's weird, right?
No, and that's understandable. And you had something that me, the loyal fan, could never have, and that was a friendship. Now, don't get me wrong. I've seen him. I talked to Sid. I had an acquaintance friendship, but you can sit back and say, hey, you know, I used to text Sid on the regular. We used to call each other. We used to go to dinner to each other. You know what I mean? So at your point, an autograph is irrelevant because it's like, you know, I had a friendship, and that's more than anything in the world. You know what I mean?
Man, you know what? If I was to read you the last text I got from him, it would break your fucking heart. You know what I'm going to do when we get farther along into his doc? I plan on being interviewed for one reason and one reason only. I want to read that text.
Nice.
Because I don't. The way I interpreted his text, he wasn't just talking to me. I think he was talking to every fan that loved him. Oh, so now I'm gonna get teary eyed. We'll talk about this. We'll get into this later. We'll do this.
No,
we'll talk when you talk to Kevin about Hog.
Kevin,
yeah,
hit him with it.
hit him with
all good.
hit him with the yeah.
That's all good, man. I respect your love and passion for it, and that's awesome. You know, I'm looking forward to this documentary. I really am. I'm not going to speak too much on it, but I'm looking forward to it. You know, I don't want to take it away from anybody.
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah.
I know we are. I think it's going to be, especially for the horror convention crowd. I think it's going to be catharsis.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a. How can I say it? I don't want to say it's going to be a hit, but it's going to be something that something the fans are going to want. I guess not, or maybe need. I don't want to say it's going to be a big hit. It's definitely going to be something longing for the fans.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's maybe here we go. It's going to be closure. It's going to be closure for the fans.
That's a very good way to put it.
You know,
I like the way you articulate. Very.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're absolutely
back up.
You're absolutely right. And you know, it's funny when we were debating how to put the doc together. One of the concerns is we were doing too much fan service, and I think Kevin said it first. He's like, you know what? He's been around, you know, since 1960, but he has made, you know, his bread has been buttered on the horror convention circuit. So we kind of don't have a choice when you really think about it. You kind of have to make. I'm not saying you make a documentary for the fans. What I am saying is you make a documentary detailing the man's extremely impressive life, but you include the horror convention industry and
Right.
his fans because they're such a big part of his life.
Right. No, I get where you're coming from. I get it. And that's what the fans need. They need to see that other side, not him at a table and he talked to him and he played in this movie, that movie. You know what I mean? The interviews and people that's going to be lined up for that.
Well, here's
it's going to tell what I don't know. I don't know. There's things I don't know, and I'm going to know when I watch it. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you. You know, it's funny. There's things I don't know either.
See, there you go.
we're in the same goddamn boat.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point of what we're trying to do. We're trying to show a 2-part doc because look, what I'm about to say is I'm not trying to be disrespectful to fans, but we've been doing a lot of face-to-face interviews with convention fans this last 6 to 8 months. And for the most part, most people know him. His career basically started in 2003, which is really too bad because he did his best work. I mean, I love the zombie movies. Don't get me wrong, but I was a fan long before then.
Right, of course.
And I don't think a lot of stuff. Yeah, I don't think a lot of the especially younger. And I don't really blame them. You know, if you're a 25-year-old horror fan. Now, that, of course, I'm contradicting myself because if you are a 25-year-old horror fan and you like Sid Haig, you damn well better know what Spider Baby is.
Spider Baby, yes, that's where it all started. You know what I mean? Like,
so you're a fan. Okay.
Well,
you're coming from.
Spider Baby, and then God, he did a movie where he was like a struggling clown, kind of almost like a hobo, and I can't remember the name of it.
You're talking about Little Big Top from
was it Little Big Top?
Yeah.
Oh man, I thought it was older than that.
It was
one like
2000. I'm guessing. Yeah, he played Ward Roberts' movie. He played what was his character's name? Seymour.
I have to go back. But yeah, I mean, I knew Sid before.
It seems like that movie's older, right?
It does. I'm trying to think as I'm talking to you. I'm like, God dang, that movie was old as shit. You know what I mean? Like, I swear that movie was probably like late 80s.
Well, that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like because it wasn't made on particularly expensive equipment. It's especially now, it doesn't look great. Like, I don't think you can get quality beyond DVD of Little Big Top, but it's a great movie and he's great. It was great and everything.
I actually, it was on Netflix a long time ago. I believe it was Netflix. It was on one of those streaming shows. There's so fucking many of them now.
No, they're fucking everywhere.
I believe it was. Netflix. But yeah, I watched Spider Baby, several times before. I guess what would we call it? The zombie movie before Rob Zombie movie.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. That put him on the map. Yes.
Instead of BC, it'll be BRZ.
I like it. But yeah, I look forward to the documentary. I think there again, it's gonna give some closure.
It'll give some closure, and I think it'll open up. I think it'll open up fans to a whole new catalog of really awesome movies, even if they're not, because the cool thing about Sid's career is, man, he fucking navigated every decade starting in 1960. He runs the pop culture timeline, for decades on end. And yeah,
and he was he did a lot of behind the scene work as well, producing, directing, from what I gather.
Voiceover. Actually, did a lot of voiceover work. He was multi-talented. I mean, he could sew.
Yeah,
He was a painter. You know, he was a
play the drums and
therapist.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah, well, yeah, he was a therapist too.
yeah,
I remember seeing something like that.
he's an extremely gifted musician. He's a good orator. I liked his politics. He was actually very political, but he didn't. Actually, that's not true. He would talk about it. He would talk about it at the tables once in a while, but not with the fervor. If you went out to dinner with him and you got him with a small group of his friends, and then he'd fucking let you have it if he didn't agree with you. But he's not gonna do that in front of fans. Can't be doing that shit.
Right, and that's a human being. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, totally.
He can't be Sid Haig all the time. You know what I mean?
No, you can't. You go crazy.
You get where I'm going with that, right?
Yeah, you'd go crazy.
When it's just when it's friends around, you be who you want to be, and not fucking Captain Spaulding every fucking hour of the minute.
I suppose we're all like that when you think about it. You sometimes you have to put on a face. Like, for example, the in-laws come over and.
Oh yeah,
No,
I get it, and it's true, and it comes to all of us. Big time celebrity or anything like that. I put on a front every day to my wife. I'm kidding. But no, for real, I gotta please her. So, but
it's true.
It's true. Men in general.
Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, that's true, man. But yeah, man. I'm trying to think if I got anything else for you, man. I don't know. I think we've pretty much covered skeletons. If whoever's listening, if you're listening to this, I highly encourage you to head over to skeletonsинthecloset.tv and get your copy of Skeletons in the Closet. But yeah, I'm actually eyeballing some merchandise on there now. So
you know what we've started to see recently. We started to see fan edits of the Skeletons trailer. Interestingly, and then I saw one for Hog just the other day. That's how you know you've made it, man.
It's true.
That's how you know. That's how you know. I'm kidding, obviously. Although I'll tell you right now, I'm waiting to see a fan re-edit of the entire movie because I'm sure that's next. Yeah, so I'm going to see you at. I'll see you in
Cincinnati. Yeah. I'm going to do my best to be on the floor and come by and definitely see you and Kevin. Kevin will be there, right? I know. I talked to him the other day, and I think he said, what did he tell me? He said I planned on it or something. I don't know. I don't go too in depth with it. I'm not like, oh well, why not? I just like, oh okay, well I'm gonna be there. So if you
I think what Kevin was probably getting at is we're not exactly sure how many roles we're going to have. Because what we might do is we might end up going just to do interviews, which incidentally, I need literally 100 or more sound bites. So if you want to be in the doc, even if it's just a sound bite, or I can even ask you a couple of questions if you want to give more, feel free. Okay, if you want to actually be in the doc, I mean, I can't guarantee that you'd be in it for any longer than 2 or 3 seconds, but because basically what I would do is just ask you, what's your favorite Sid Haig movie? Tell me why.
No, I get it. Yeah, that'd be cool.
That kind of stuff.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
But if we are there as a vendor, I guarantee you Kevin will be manning the table. I won't have time to go back and forth. We tried that in Chicago, and you can't do that. We're going upstairs to the vending table and then back down for interviews all day, and that's how you kill yourself.
Yeah. I'll definitely be there, and like I said, if I have the chance to. Now y'all going to be there all week, right? You're not It's just not like a 1 day type thing for you.
No, we'll probably be up. We'll probably be up Thursday to Sunday. Are you a fan of traditional animation, stop motion animation?
So honestly, I don't follow. As a kid, I watched the old Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. But I wouldn't lie to you. I can't lie to you. I don't follow it enough to even remotely know anything. What little I know is just because of what I do, for my buddy and stuff.
Oh, I'll be honest. Here's an ironic twist. I'm actually working on a stop motion show right now, but I've never followed animation. But I respect the hell out of it. Like,
oh yeah, most definitely.
Do you remember Heavy Metal? When I saw Heavy Metal as a kid,
Heavy Metal,
dude.
Oh, that was.
You know what I'm talking about? That's like a life changer. Soon
it was.
Wow, dude.
Yeah,
Fucking
Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal brought it together. Like when I watched that as a kid, I was like, this is the greatest cartoon ever. You know what I mean?
Like literally.
Like this is it. And then what did they come out with? Heavy Metal 2000. Was it 2001?
Oh, the re-release?
Yeah, I was like, no, it doesn't even touch the original, Yeah, Heavy Metal, man. Now that you mention that, I kind of want to watch it.
First time you see fucking Tarna's boobs, it's like the Phoebe Cates scene from Fast Times. And I sound like a pervert right now, but come on, dude. I was 6. I was like, oh my god, boobs.
Oh yeah. No, I get it. I was like, it's the closest thing to the real thing.
Funny enough, when you talk to Kevin, I'm not going to say anything about it. I'll see if he wants to talk about it a little bit. But Kevin and I have actually been sort of in, I don't know, moderate development on a animated project that's dirty like Hog and animated. So it's basically a heavy metal riff. We just haven't figured out how to merge the live action portion yet, but we want to merge the we just haven't figured out the details. But see if he wants to talk about that. He might.
Okay, yeah, I'll ask him.
But yeah, I'd love to do a heavy metal movie. That would be, and like I said, I'm not even a fucking animator. I just I bring animators together and we I don't have to be.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, as long as you're a good editor, you can then technically be an animator. You're just not actually animating. Because I'm not going to sit here. I'm like, I have the patience to sit and put a movie together, and I don't care how many years it takes me. But the patience, the painstaking work that stop motion requires is, I can't tell you how impressed I am by it, but anyway, we're going off on a tangent. But
no, I get it. That's real quick. I asked Kevin a long time ago. I was watching Hog, and I was like, "Hey, man," I was like, "Who did the clay animation portion of the movie?" Because I know
funny. It's so fucking funny you ask. People are going to think that we set this up. No, it's funny you asked that. I'll tell you. I'll give you the truncated version of the story. So, when we were putting Hog together the second time, when we got to the drug scene, I said to Kevin and Tony, and I said, we need to do something with this drug scene. This needs to be, because in the original version, for one thing, you don't believe any of those kids actually smoke pot. And number two, the drug scene, the girl basically gets a headache and then, attempts to commit suicide. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So I'm like,
right.
We need to go fucking batshit. So I said, let's introduce animation. And I forgot who brought it up, but somebody said, it might have been Tony. I don't remember. Let's talk to Chris, because Chris had given this other project we had going called World of Death, which I'm sure you've heard of. It's just a giant collection of movies from around the world. And
it's like 100 and something.
Yeah, Bloody Disgusting sponsors it. So somebody made contact with Younce. And Younce is like, Chris Younce is the guy that did it. He's like, fuck yes. Yes, I want to do this. So he recreated the sets using stills from the movie. And he goes, "What do you need?" I'm like, "You know what? Just give me as many frames as you can, and I'm gonna put it." He's like, "I'm gonna probably give you an hour of footage." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'll cut it all up." And I think he actually gave me an hour of footage, which I condensed into like, I don't fucking know, 40 seconds. It's real fast.
Yeah, like 20 seconds.
I think 2 years go by. Kevin is producing his next movie, his next short called Masked. And I'm like, "Chris, I owe you one from Hog. I'm going to make a trailer for your movie." He's like, "Fucking thank you." So I talked to Steve, my current partner, and we worked on the Masked trailer. And this piggybacks to what I was saying earlier. Sure enough, a little less than a year later, Chris contacts me and Steve. I got to be careful because I can't tell you what I'm working on, but the first episode actually comes out, I think, in the next 7 to 10 days. You'll know it when you see it, believe me, especially if you follow my Instagram. But he calls us up and he goes, "Hey, I've got blank, blank, blank up here in Vancouver. I want you guys to work on it with me." Very prestigious company. And we're like, "Fuck yes." Once again, man, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. But yeah, his name is Chris Younce, and he is a fucking brilliant stop motion animator.
Yeah.
And we are having a fucking ball working on what we're working on right now.
Nice.
And when you see it, it's you trust me, you will not be expecting it from me. All right.
That's awesome.
But once you see it, you're like, yeah. Ben had a hand in that. No bullshit.
Yeah, that's definitely him. Huh?
Anyway, so yeah, his name is Chris, and he's really good. And actually, he's actually talking. I forget what he just pitched us this. He's either thinking of doing a really ambitious feature or it was a short. I don't remember. You know what? I'm stupid enough. I could probably convince him to do a feature. I'll just tell. I'll say, "Hey, Kevin, we need help financing this. It's only going to cost $5,000." See, Kevin, when Kevin listens to this, he'll laugh, but not really, because I can't budget shit for shit. All right, man. I took up too much of your time. I fucking went off on it.
No, you're good, man. I asked it for a reason because I was like, because when I asked Kevin, I was like, the animation, like, for one, it put a lot into the movie. Like I said before, when I watch a movie, I break it down, and there's things I miss, but the animation, the clay, I was like, genius,
dude.
Fucking genius.
He killed it. I mean, and you know what? The best part about it is, I only told him like one thing. I was like, just make sure you give me, just give me enough like a pulsating heart or veins in the arms. I think that's the only actual request I had. And then he turns over the entire sets of all these. And when you get to the skeleton, I don't think that came up in the conversation. He just winged that.
Just threw it in there. Just threw it in there. Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. That was the cool part about that movie is Kevin didn't put any restrictions on anybody, which is great. He's like, "You know what, man? Just make it fucking ridiculous. Just make it a cool movie." And so there aren't any restrictions. It was the best. It's the best way to put a movie together.
It is.
There's probably some people right now that I guarantee are rolling their eyes because it's a ridiculous. Because we had no self-control. I mean, quite honestly, when I was telling you about the transitions with the explosions and then there's tits for no reason, we had no self-control. It's very, very self-indulgent, but you liked it.
Oh, I fucking loved it, and that's all that mattered.
I agree with you. I think that it's for a very select group of people. It definitely has. It's a niche movie. It's a grindhouse movie.
Right.
I think it's a cult movie. I just don't think it's found. I honestly don't think it's found its audience yet. I think it's going to take some time.
Right, and you hit it on the head when you said that, because pushing it like I was doing, hey, get this, you gotta watch it. Like, I got several buddies that are into those type of movies, and I'm just like, no, you gotta watch this movie. My pitch was, there's tits, there's blood, there's drugs. Sid Haig, you know what I mean? I was like, you gotta watch this. And a few of them was like, yeah, it was okay, and it didn't, Sid Haig was in it, but it was like not what I expected. I was like, yeah, because it wasn't a freaking Captain Spaulding.
It wasn't horrible. Yeah, and we got we've gotten that from a lot of people, and you know what?
Yeah.
We knew that was the thing, and see, that's the thing that's the most disappointing because, man, Sid's so good in it, you know.
No, he is. No, that's what I'm saying. Like, pure. He had a sense of just pure. What's the word? Relaxation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I didn't see any tension.
no.
You know, in the acting.
You
now,
could
granted,
you could tell that he was. You could tell. I shouldn't say this because I don't want to assume anything, but I wasn't on set, mind you, for this movie. I didn't come on so much later, which is interesting. But in the conversations I had with Sid about Hog, yeah, he enjoyed shooting that movie up in Galena in Elizabeth and in rural Illinois. You could definitely tell in his performance, and I know the production had its fair shake of tough days, like any movie. But he's too much of a pro for you to be able to even recognize that.
Right, and it had a good sense. Good, I don't know. I watched that movie back to back. My wife was like, "What the hell?" I was like, I'm watching it. You know, I'm basically studying it. Like, I enjoy the movie. Like, I'm gonna go back and watch Skeletons again since you mentioned some of those things that I not that I didn't even notice. I was bluntly trying to pay attention to, piecing the movie together.
You know what else?
And I'll go back and I'll look for that. You know,
I forgot something else. I'm in the movie twice actually. Well, 3 times if you count Channel 13. But okay, in the first short, Grandma O'Malley's Pantry, if you pay attention to Grandma running up the walls, okay, when she's in the little girl's bedroom, that's me, and I show up again coming around the corner, coming out of the basement. That's
nice.
That's me on a green screen that's been comped into the movie. I forgot about that. That's so ridiculous. And God, we did that. Listen to this shit. We actually shot that in like 2014, maybe 2013.
Yeah,
that's when we shot that. We kept that footage for that fucking
Jesus.
Like, yeah,
dude. Do that.
You know what? The movie had been with us for so long. We knew it. We just kind of knew it backwards and forwards. I shouldn't say that completely because when we got into the editing room for the last phase of it, like I said earlier, we were making stuff as we went along. Like the TV. The TV was made up on the spot. I mean, I wish I could tell you I had that idea in my head for years, but I would be totally lying to you. No. I got bored one night and I'm like, all right, man, I don't know what to fucking do, but this movie's boring me out. I need like the explosion in the tits. I couldn't do that though. There's a little 11-year-old girl there. So I needed another, but something like that. I needed some type of fucking shot in the arm, and the shot in the arm was a stupid asshole on the television. Which, by the way, in the 1 hour and 34 minutes we've been sitting here, somebody just posted on one of my Instagram posts, fuck yeah.
I'm gonna go over there and I'm gonna count them all. so I'm gonna start a hashtag fuck yeah. That's what I'll do. I'll influence the movie and put a hashtag on. Maybe the SEO will pick it up.
You know, it's funny too when Skeletons came out a year later. Or no, wait, sorry, that was the same year. 2 months later, the Panos Cosmatos movie starring Nicolas Cage, Mandy, came out. And Mandy, if you pay attention, also has a Channel 13.
Really?
They're in a bunch. I'm telling you, man. If you go back and watch a bunch of 80s slashers, there's a bunch of channels.
There's a bunch. I noticed. I did see the little horror movie clips in it. I mean, obviously that was easy to recognize. You know, you had Night of the Living Dead. You had the little clips in there. I did notice that. I'm coming to get you, bro. You know, I was like, oh, hey, paying remembrance to the old classics.
You know what would be funny is grouping them all together and see if any of them actually have a voiceover artist. Because you know what's funny? I don't think Channel 13 was something I saw even subconsciously somewhere else. I'm pretty sure I've never seen that in that form. Obviously, you'll have, if you've seen Amazon Woman on the Moon, remember that old John Landis movie?
Yeah.
With basically just a fake TV station?
Yep.
I don't even think it had anything like that. But there's got to be something like that from an old 80s slasher. It'd be fun to like go find a bunch of them and be like, hey, you want to do a panel? Stupid television voiceovers for shit that doesn't matter.
Now that you mentioned
Stupid
that,
fucking panel of all time.
there was, I think it was a documentary on horror movie trailers. I think it was on Netflix a long time ago, and it was hosted by this grimy like individual. I couldn't tell you much detail, but he had a puppet. The monster. There's like this. He had a puppet in his hand. And it was like
Trailer Park. Was it Trailer Park? There's a couple of them.
I don't remember, but
I know what you're talking about because it's like the movie looks terrible, but it's fun.
Yeah, it was horrible, but it was so good.
Because it's so fucking stupid. Yeah,
and that's what I liked about it. I was like Basket Case. We'll go back to that. The movie was fucking horrible, but I loved it.
See, that's all that matters. If it strikes a nerve, it doesn't. Because look, dude, a single movie is just not going to be for everybody. There's just not. It's not how this works. Taste. Well, obviously, because it's taste is fucking subjective.
Right. Well, I feel like if it's a movie that you can go back and watch over and over, and you catch something, or and everybody has said this, you watch it over and you learn something every time. To me, that is a win in my book. Opposed to these newer movies, these newer horror movies. I'm gonna throw It out there, the new It. I have nothing against that, whatever. But that's a movie I can watch one time, and I'm just like, yeah, I've seen it. But
that's
when you go
precisely
back,
that's precisely how Hog and Skeleton, specifically Hog, and Kevin will probably elaborate on this more. I won't go into this right now. I'll let Kevin do it. But in Hog, throughout the movie, and I mean throughout the movie, are lots of hidden images, single frames. And you literally have to get lucky and just kind of pause and stop on something.
Yeah.
So far, we haven't heard anybody finding anything egregious, but they're in there. And we designed that intentionally so that we could be on podcasts years later. And then people were like, wait a minute. There's hidden what? There's pictures of what in this movie? I got to go.
Now I'll go back and rewatch it and be like, hey Ben, I'm going to need you to come back on, man. I found some stuff on there. I need you to come back on this podcast.
Also, here's another clue. I don't think I've said this publicly. But if you go back and you watch the movie, the order of the characters' deaths are actually on the screen. We did kind of what we kind of riffed on what Scorsese did in The Departed, except ours are actually numerical. If you pay attention to Hog and how the
so it's on the. I did see a part where it listed a bunch of.
Oh, they're all over the place. Yeah, they're all over the place.
Yeah, I was like,
oh yeah,
okay.
that's just like two of the like I don't know. There's probably like 15 different.
Oh
pieces
yeah, I imagine there's a lot. Yeah,
it's all over the place, and we did that on purpose so we could dole out this information once in a while, and people would be like, wait a minute, what? The whole movie's basically code, but at the end of the day, we're just fucking off.
Makes for a good movie though. It's a movie.
Right? Yeah. Oh yeah. No. We were. You could tell we were. Well, I don't know if everybody was having as much fun as we were because that movie did stress a lot of people out. But for the most part, and I can't speak for the people that actually made the film because I wasn't on set when this was being shot. But all the stories I've heard about the making of this, including from Sid, where it was a lot of fun. And then there was kind of the years where the movie was in limbo where it probably wasn't as fun. But once we got, like, when we were shooting the stuff, the day we shot with Ellie, in that same window, we shot all the strippers too. And literally that same day. And let me tell you something, man. Fuck, was that fun?
I bet. I was
Man, that was a good time. That was a fun day.
Oh, I imagine it. When I first popped it in, I didn't expect titties. I was like, not to that degree.
Not to that extent, yeah.
No, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing. You know what I mean? I mean, you've seen one titty, you've seen them all, but when it's in something that you don't expect, and it's a movie that you're gonna enjoy regardless if I've never seen it, and just having Kevin as a friend and his passion for it, and obviously me watching it, and I'm like, oh man, this is fucking great. It's fucking titties. I can't smoke marijuana, but I used to smoke marijuana back when I was 17, so I'm like, yeah, I can relate. You know. But yeah, I truly enjoyed High on the Hog and Skeletons in the Closet, just for the simple fact that it's the little things that go behind it. That's where I draw my true passion, is just knowing the heartaches and the blood and sweat and the people fucking around in it. That's what makes it for me. I guess I look a little bit more into it. I may miss some stuff when I watch it. After talking to you, I'm gonna probably go back and be like, "Holy shit, there it is."
Honestly, I miss stuff. Somebody was asking me the other day about where a certain scene was in the running time, and I'm like, my brain is fried. I don't remember reel 1 from reel 400. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, I can for the most part tell you exactly where X hidden image is, probably down at the fucking second. Yeah, next time you watch it, just try not to pay attention to anything else other than the, especially when we cut between scenes. If there's not a straight transition like like an explosion or a car racing by. When I did the degradation between transition pieces, that's when you'll see the fun stuff. And once again, there's stuff hidden all over the nudity. I wanted to. My wife would come in here when I was cutting this. Here's a funny story for you. You got time for one more story?
No, man. Go ahead.
So my wife comes in here and she's watching me put together all this TNA for weeks on end, and she's like, this is bullshit. She's like, us ladies would like to see a dick every once in a while. So there's a scene, as you know, when Jimmy's coming around the corner and we cut to a cucumber because we're fucking idiots. But initially I went to Kevin. I'm like, you know what? My wife brings up a good point. If we're going to make this dirty, let's go the whole way and just show this giant fucking dick. And Kevin wasn't having it. But the point is, though, I actually wanted to take this much, much fucking further. And in fact, here's another part. I won't talk about this, but Kevin might. There's a scene early on when this is post her getting hit by Joe, and they take her out in the woods and they burn her clothes. In that scene is something really dirty we cut out. And the only reason we cut it out is I didn't have any good coverage of it, and we couldn't shoot that as a pickup because it's misleading, it's disingenuous to the actresses. So we just had to. Maybe Kevin will talk about that, but there was a moment where we actually wanted to push the envelope even farther, but to limit the criticism we knew we were going to get, to kind of tamper how fucking dirty the movie is. That's one of the reasons too. It's ridiculous. It's not meant to be taken seriously by any human being ever. It's a ridiculous movie.
Right.
And you're right. I think you're right. I think that people were looking for this vengeful, angry Sid out to fucking rip open some fucking cops or something. I don't know what they were thinking. I will say this: the movie does differ a little bit in tone from the trailer. Because High on the Hog, obviously you've seen it. There's a giant family drama at the heart of that movie. You know, and there's a fucking lesbian love story at the heart of that movie, and that's not really in the trailer. The trailer makes it like it's a much faster, much more crazy, zany movie, and it is. I mean, could you imagine if the speed of the movie was the speed of the trailer? Like, you would have everyone would have a stroke in like the second reel.
Yeah.
Including the editor.
Yeah, it was very, when I watched the trailer. Obviously, I watched the trailer before I watched the movie. I was like, "Holy crap!" And that's a good point you bring up too. It was very quick, like intense, and then once you watch it, you know, Sid, it just had a laid back tone, and then obviously it sped up. But we slow it down. We slow it down when we want it to be. Like and that's the thing I like about. I like the drama. I like slowing the movie down. If I didn't like those characters or I didn't like that dialogue, I wouldn't have done it that way. Because if I don't like a scene and I don't like a performance, I will rush fucking through it faster than you. I mean, dude, I'll put 100 cuts on that fucker. I don't care if it's one page of dialogue. Yeah. But dude, there's a lot of those scenes, and we got criticized it for. You know, we let them breathe, and they're like. Some of these scenes, I just don't think people. I don't think people understood that they were getting into some heavy drama, and there's a lot of heavy drama there. I mean, all those girls had been abused, you know. Yeah, no, it had a good storyline to it. It gave you that sense of like, oh, here's a farmer, and they're to each is their own. They, you know, you got to be part of it. You got to work, and the storyline gave a good sense of. You know, I guess humbling, like, oh, look, it's Sid, and he's kind of like Big Daddy. You know what I mean?
It's a cool send off for his career. He's got 2 other posthumous releases. I really wish Hog was the definitive final Sid Haig movie, because it's you know, regardless of anything else, that's how I'll remember him by.
No, I agree.
In this movie,
I agree. I went from watching High on the Hog until I watched that before the new Three from Hell.
Did you like it?
It was okay.
You know, it's funny.
It was okay.
I honestly, and I think I'm biased because Sid's in it. I didn't mind it. I went in there with the worst attitude. I'm like, I'm gonna fucking hate this. I am. I'm gonna see Sid and I'm gonna get bored. You know what? Honestly, it's got a great soundtrack, and if a movie's got a great soundtrack, I really don't care what's going on. I just want to listen to the music.
It's such a good sound.
I'm such a sucker. Yeah, it's a great soundtrack, and you know what? I don't know. It's such a ridiculous story. Like, how do these people survive? But we get to see Sid again, so who cares?
Yeah, and I guess that's why I'm kind of like, it was okay because of such of the big hype that the Devil's Rejects left. You know what I mean? Like, and then we get the third to the franchise, and it was like, you know what I mean? Like it didn't to me. It didn't fill that void, and I understand that Rob Zombie had to basically rewrite half the movie because of Sid's help. From what I gather.
I don't understand why. I mean, I would have rather had another Sid movie than this idea I'm about to pitch to you, but I don't know why Zombie just didn't make. I don't know why he couldn't sell a grindhouse western, that's what Hog is basically when you think about it. I don't know why he couldn't sell an action grindhouse western, just like Three from Hell, with the same actors. They just weren't the Spaldings. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I get it.
They were the Spaldings, the Fireflies.
The Fireflies, yeah. No, that's right. You're absolutely correct.
Because I think, honestly, I'm going to get punched in the face for this, but Sherry Moon's kind of grown on me. I kind of like her. I fucking love Bill, and I think Richard Blake is fucking incredible. I would watch those 3 actors read the fucking phone book.
No, I agree. I'm right there with you, but I just feel like I don't want to say he could have done better because he did an outstanding job. But I guess more or less I'm thinking more of the storyline. I guess I was expecting something more to kind of caveat off of the second and first film. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
dude, you know what? No matter what here's the thing. I totally understand because people love Devil's Rejects. No matter what he was going to do, he was going to get criticized. Because let's face
No,
it,
oh yeah,
that
no,
movie did not need a fucking trilogy. It didn't need another bookend. It just didn't. It didn't. That movie was. I kind of like Three from Hell, but it's necessarily a sequel. You know, it is.
no,
But we got to see Sid one more time.
right, right, and after like what I was getting at earlier is I watched High on the Hog and then I watched you know Three from Hell and I'm like, oh man, Sid would look really really sick in it, like it showed, and I got it that his character in that movie was him supposed to be, you know, fable and old and he'd been in prison and he's on death row and uh, but man, that was really a kick in the balls, man. I was like, oh my god, I think I'm about to cry. You know what I mean? I was like, ugh, because I go from seeing him High on the Hog, Big Daddy, and then that movie comes out. I'm like, ugh,
Yeah, he
ugh,
yeah he changed.
yeah, bad. It went down
He
bad. I was
changed.
like, oh my god, you know, I maybe that's why it kind of disappointed me is seeing him in that condition from and go, because it wasn't long after that I watched it after watching High on the Hog. uh,
Well, and think about this. I mean, once that movie was released, it was released theatrically initially when I saw it, right before Sid's death, but most people saw it after. So think about how melancholy that is for people, especially when you're like I was always a Sid fan from his Grindhouse stuff.
yeah,
I was a fan of the 70s and 80s. I'm glad he had an awesome second and third act starting in 2003. But I was already a fan, so that's how I remember him. That being said, I love zombies movies, but I'm not. That's not my thing. But to a lot of horror fans that
no, I
love
get it.
hate, they fucking love those fucking films. So I understand why people were disappointed and why, yeah, that movie's tough to get through. It was tough. I saw it before and it was tough to get through. I can only imagine had I seen that film theatrically after Sid had passed. I don't think I would have been able to sit fucking through it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, yeah. Sad part on that, and then just I agree with you. You said it right when it should have never been a third. It should have left it at the second and let the film ride off into the sunset. You know what I mean? Like,
Totally. But I
just,
also understand Zombie's position. You
oh
know,
yeah, of course.
I can't get him. I can't get a budget to make anything else I want. The only way I'm gonna be able to make another movie is let's say, for example, I didn't want to make Skeletons in the Closet Part 4, but I couldn't get any of my other projects off the ground, and I wanted to get something going. I wanted a new project. I'd do it. I don't want to do it, but I'd do it. I try to give it something, you know, like Zombie at least introduce some new blood, but at the end of the day, it's the same movie, which is fine.
No.
It's fine.
I get it. I get it behind it. I see why he did it and the vision, but thinking about it and knowing that the second one was just as was it. He killed him off in the end, and that's what I remember. You know, and the way the movie, the way
I liked it a hell of a lot more than 31. I'll tell you that much.
31. What was the other one that I couldn't wrap? Was it Salem?
Lords of
Salem.
Lords of Salem is like I like Lords of Salem, but it's like an art film.
You gotta.
It's a surreal horror Actually, it's a drug movie too, but it's
Yeah.
it's an art film, and you you gotta be prepared for that shit. It's not like just a standard horror movie. Not even fucking close.
Right. And I'm gonna be that asshole, and then that's what I expected. I expected, oh, it's Rob Zombie. It's gonna be a straight up horror, and I probably just hyped myself out. And once I watched it, I was like, what the fuck is this? You know, and I seen it when it first came out, and my outlook on certain things has changed since then. So maybe I should go back and re-engage and watch it again. And
You might like it if
And-
yeah, with a set of fresh eyes. But once
Yeah,
again, it's not.
yeah,
for
I gotta. It was one of them films. I was like, ugh, and I could probably go back and probably appreciate it. You know, there's several films that I have to go back and appreciate again. I tell you, another film that no one really appreciated was Halloween 3.
How people hated.
I
People
fucking
hated
loved
Halloween
Halloween 3.
Halloween
Halloween 3
Halloween 3 is one of those perfect,
That's the
Halloween party movies.
yeah. It's one of them movies that basically said, "Fuck your franchise."
Yeah.
You know?
It's honestly, if I was a working movie director in 1980, what's Halloween 3? 82? That's what I would have
Yeah.
made. I would have made something fucking batshit like Halloween 3. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. And dude, the soundtrack to Halloween 3 is incredible.
Amazing. Who was it?
It's
John Carpenter?
incredible. It's John Carpenter, and I think
Yeah.
John Carpenter and Alan Howarth. It's got to be both
Yeah.
of them. What an amazing! And let's be honest, that movie derived 75% of its power from the soundtrack. But so what?
yeah.
It's fine. And
No,
Tom
nothing wrong
Atkins
with that.
and his mustache are in it.
Yeah. Tom Atkins. Come on now, and then you've got the old man from RoboCop.
Oh, Dan
What was
O'Hara.
his name? Yeah, Dan O'Hara. Yeah, come
He's
on.
He's good.
He could sing me, He could read me a bedtime story, and I'd fall right to sleep. He just had that voice, you know.
Fucking ridiculous movie. And see, people always talk about. They're like, why can't we make a film like that? And you know what it is? It's the general tone of how movies were made in that era. You can't recreate that.
No.
I mean, like, if I wanted to make tonally, aesthetically, like a movie shot in 1982, you know why I couldn't do it? Because I can't edit that way.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
I artistically, aesthetically couldn't recreate that. Like, Skeletons would be a much different movie if we were really trying to make it look, well, 86 is different, but let's say 1982. And that's what people are always forgetting. And here's the other thing. People make these period movies, right? Like, let's say you make a period movie, 1975, right? All you're doing, though, is recreating 1975 on beautiful sound stages with props that look like from that era, but with brand new cameras and brand new, digital technology. With set deck budgets of $40 million. Why not make, I was telling this to my wife the other day, if you're going to make a movie that's in 1975, go get your fucking ass out there and shoot it on shitty Kodak, big ass fucking Panavision camera, and don't shoot it on don't recreate it. Fucking shoot on location. It's some shitty
location.
Yeah. Anyway, now
No, I
I'm
agree.
rambling.
You're good.
All right. So anyway, talk to Kevin, and when you talk to Kevin, go into the backstory, go into the hog history before I got involved, because that's the stuff you're going to find interesting, especially from a writing perspective, because he'll tell you the whole fucking story. But yeah, when you interview Kevin, and here's the thing, if you want to do it with it's both of us, that's fine. I can come in later, or I can not be there at all. It's totally up to you guys. Because I'll talk about that movie all day.
Hell, the more the merrier. You know what I mean? I'm down to talk.
These are these are fun, but yeah, like I said, man, if you need anything, or you want any advice, or
yeah, man, I'll definitely hit you
just
up.
hit me up.
Your brain. Yeah. Well, appreciate everything, man. Thank
Man,
you for coming
thank
on.
you.
And, yes, sir.
Let's keep in touch.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna keep in touch with you, man.
Excellent. All right, Audie. I'll talk
All
to you
right, man.
soon. Thanks a lot,
Appreciate
man.
it. All right.